What is that?
It's my bone.
God damn it, Cartman! How would you like to suck my balls?
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was... How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison? Holy shit, dude.
Just keep fighting till you fall. Day by day, kicking all the way. I'm not caving in. Let another round begin. Live to win. Yeah. Live. Yeah. Win.
So, Ian, who is Eric Cartman's father? We're back.
Eric Cartman.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, double the dose in 1 week because we just were not going to let you sit there and only listen to Not Without My Anus review. It's your weekly self.
Not without my anus.
Because that would have sucked. Like, if I was listening to the podcast and, like, I followed somebody who was doing a South Park pod, and they're like, all right, we'll be back next week. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what you're reviewing this week? Why don't you just fucking skip it? But we had to do it because it was April Fool's Day. You know, we had to do it, Ian. It was April Fool's Day. You know what I'm saying? And it was to the day. It was to the day. But we're on to the next day. And the next week, as the fans were actually pissed, they had to wait another fucking week. We got another episode of South Park. Season 2, episode 2. Of Cartman's Mom Is Still a Dirty Slut. This was the 15th season of the series overall. Premiered on Comedy Central in the United States on April 22nd, 1998. But here's the thing. It was another fuck you to the fans, Ian. Because think about it. That episode came out on the 1st. And then they had to wait till the 22nd. And they say at the end of the episode, we'll be back in 4 weeks. Like, they really fucked with them, dude. They really fucked with the fans on this episode. It's almost like they were trying to get canceled right away.
Yeah, and they were. I guess they were trying to like make that diehard base.
Really test the fans.
Really test them.
Now, the episode itself follows the storyline of season 1 finale. Cartman's Mom Is a Dirty Slut, which you can check out our full season 1 review right here on anchor.com/suckmyballs. Of course, on all digital media outlets, including ratsaladreview.com and hackerhameen.podbean.com. I would say a good portion of our listeners probably come from Hacker Hameen. So what up? Please go ahead and like and subscribe to our regular feeds. That would definitely help us too. We appreciate it. And then, you just, you subscribe to our Suck My Bass. So you can just subscribe to us everywhere. I would appreciate it. And now we're on YouTube or video or wherever we're at. I don't know, wherever we decide to put this. We're here. We're live in video in person. I'm still wearing the same shirt. Dead giveaway that we recorded this on the same day. And we're fucked. We should not changing our shirts. That would have been smart.
We're plebs.
Oh, we're noobs. We're noobs here to the video podcasting. That would have been a nice touch, actually, if we had changed our shirts. If we ever do multiple podcast recordings again in one day, we're going to have to all right, hold on. Let me go change my shirt. Maybe put up like lights and shit, or like if it's a holiday. Oh, last week was Christmas. We just record like 8 months in advance one day. Let's do it. Full power 1 week in quarantine. We'll record every South Park episode.
Would that even be possible?
I don't know. Before we get going here and concluding, we do want to shout out all of you who are in quarantine. Well, we are staying safe with your family and friends. Ian, how are you doing in this quarantine? How about a quick update from you? Are you okay?
No, I'm good. Okay. I'm fine.
Now your profession is considered essential. So like, are you getting work right now? What'd you say? Yeah. That's good.
It's
That's
still,
pretty good.
some of it's iffy, some of it's not.
Well, Yeah, as a essential man who makes sure that you can wash your fucking ass and take a shit, I would say he's not a janitor, by the way. I'm just saying. as an essential man who takes care of all waterworks, plumbing needs, you are definitely very essential, I would say, in this like field of life. If something goes wrong, bro, like you can fix pipes. Water is the most fucking essential thing because everybody's buying the toilet paper. Okay, so
Everyone. And so we're just waiting for that as those get those.
What
My toilet's clogged.
You have the power, really, like toilet fucking plumbers, man. Trade work. I'm telling you, essential. All those people, they're like, I don't want to be a tradesman. I don't want to go to a tech school. I don't want to do that because it's beneath me, and I don't want to make money that way. Well, guess what? Now what are you fucking doing? You're at home, pissed off that Ian is fucking fixing your toilet and charging you $85 an hour. And I'm fucking running your TV. So what up?
What up?
What up, dog? I'm only running your TV locally, I should say. Disclaimer. So let's get into the episode.
Previously on South Park, an air of sobriety fills the laboratory as the men of South Park gather to find out which one of them fathered this boy.
Who is Eric Cartman's father? At the end of tonight's episode, you will know the answer.
So Mephisto, at the end of season 1, he's shot. And just as he's about to reveal the identity of Eric Cartman's father, the 4 boys and Chef rush him to Hills Pass Hospital while the town of South Park experiences a massive blizzard in this episode. So that's where we kick off.
That's what is a blizzard.
Right. So just as he's about to announce this, like Eric Cartman's father, the electricity goes out, the room is darkened, all of a sudden you hear 2 gunshots being fired. And then as the lights come back on, everyone discovers that Mephisto has been shot. As you mentioned before we started recording, there was definitely a lot of character development here for Mephisto, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit.
This was the first time we kind of, was it really though? Because he gets shot and then he just kind of lays there the whole episode. Is it really character development, Ian, though? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. It definitely introduced him as the pivotal character in the story that it revolved around as far as, storyline A, right? So, you've got the 4 boys and Chef, they rush him to Hell's Hospital. They're, as they're driving up the road, I believe it was when they were in the car and they're talking about things that are annoying. And Cartman says something along the lines of, dude, it's just like that song. It's just like that song, Come Sail Away With Me. Anytime somebody starts it, I have to finish it. And Kyle's like, really? He's like, yeah, dude. And then Kyle starts it. And then as he starts it, he doesn't finish it. So Cartman has to like regurgitate it, like in the fastest enunciation and regurgitation, communication, reverberation of Come Sail Away With Me by the 6.
I'm sailing away.
No.
Set an open course for the virgin sea.
I've got to be free the faces of that's ahead of me. I'm bored on the couches, climb aboard, we search for tomorrow on every shore, and I'll try to carry on. Gathering all in just a bit about my head, the same to us, it's like a hope, and this is what they say. Comes away with me. Not comes away with me.
Whoa, dude.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you. The Styx were a very popular band during the 70s, I would say. Maybe 60s, but I know definitely the 70s for 2 reasons. 1, and we discussed this, our parents listened to it. And 2, Eric Foreman, that 70s show, was a big fan. And then you find out everybody's actually a fan of the Styx because they're all potheads. They're like, I fucking love the Styx. And then I started connecting the dots. Dad was a pothead too, maybe. I don't know. Was he? Everybody was a pothead back then, right? I don't know. But I'm not going to assume anything. But I just was like, that's what was going on back then. That's why I better like the Styx. I'm sure everybody tried it back in the 60s and 70s when it wasn't a big, it's still not a big deal. What the fuck am I saying? I'm like about to make air quotes. No, it's not a big deal at all. If you smoke weed, be happy. If you don't smoke weed, be happy. I don't care. Just don't, Y'all bring me down. Any other comments you want to talk about here before we move on? No? Okay.
No.
All right. So Justice Mephisto is about to announce who Eric Cartman is. Like we mentioned, electricity goes out. Now, all of a sudden, did you notice that when the lights came back up, Mrs. Cartman was there with cookies?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna bring that up. What the fuck was that?
Did that make you or lead you to believe that she was the one that shot Mephisto?
Dude. Ooh. We should add the X-Files sound here. Yeah. Conspiracy, baby.
I mean,
Maybe she was the one who shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of, Mephisto, we'll get to it here, but he would disagree. Because I guess he doesn't get, there's no murder follow-up. Officer Barbray doesn't investigate that jackass, doesn't know what to do. As it's pointed out in this episode, what would you do? And he can't figure it out. Oh, hello. And as Ian's eating on video, dumb guy. Everybody sees you. Yeah, I see you eating, drinking your beverage. Anyway,
So
we're
hungry.
not on podcast anymore, buddy. At least he muted, so we didn't have to hear it. So that we appreciate.
Always.
But so Chef notes that he is, of course, still alive, and he's the one that rushes them to the hospital, and they're the only ones there as far as working in the hospital, being two people. Nurse Goodley, who has no arms, and the doctor. No, she has no arms. Even like Kenny, or was it Kenny who says it? I think Ken, or even, was it Stan? Was like, whoa, or no, Kyle was like, whoa, dude. And little boy, we do not discriminate. We are equal opportunity employer here. And I was like, all right, well, shout out to South Park then, at least, being real.
Equal opportunists.
Equal opportunists here at that hospital, man. So unfortunately, the bad thing about the hospital is that there's no lights on, or there's very few power. There's only two people, and you've got like people just like tripping around, like blood coming out of one lady's like neck. Some guy's got a axe like sticking on top of his head.
Chaos.
And while this is all going on, now the mayor is in town talking with her citizens, and she's like, okay, we got to come up with a couple different ideas. What do we want to do? Do we want to do we want to find this guy? Like, what should you do, Officer Barbray? What should we do? And they can't come up with a decision. All of a sudden, America's Most Wanted just shows up. Hey, what's up with America's Most Wanted? We want to do a story.
What the fuck?
Well, as the director points out, we're desperate. And then I think his producer, his lighting guy behind him was like, shut up, dude.
That was funny. Shut up, dude.
The cameraman really makes me laugh at this scene though, because they're like, he's all pitching the shit to the mayor. He's like, on America's Most Wanted, we're all about family. And the cameraman's like, we are?
Don't worry, Mayor. America's Most Wanted is not about violence. It's about family.
It is?
And as someone who has worked camera operations and stuff like that for live events, that's something I would like be holding the camera like, really? America's Most Wanted is about family? Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, right. That doesn't make sense at all. And so they start making a documentary. It's so weird that this storyline B is going on all at the same time with storyline A, them being at the hospital, because it feels like B moves along faster. Like it moves progressively from one scene to the next, from the America's Most Wanted people showing up to the casting and tryouts of the characters to be in the movie, to the actual live shooting, to them then going into the blizzard, to the cannibalism, then to them digging them way out. Do you see how much there was like a lot of scene changes and directions in this one part of the story versus they're all just hanging out in the hospital and you've got Team A and Team B. Team A, we will stay here and drink hot cocoa while Team B goes out and does everything. Isn't that kind of interesting?
Oh, that is very interesting.
What are you looking at, Scoop? What are you researching?
America's Most Wanted.
Okay.
So I wanted to remember when it stopped. It ran from 1988 to 2013.
Yup.
She-money.
Yup. It basically ran for almost like I basically was born the same year as America's Most Wanted. In 2013, that would have been 7 years ago. 25-year-old Matt. 25-year-old Matt. We were hanging out then. That's like right around the time we met almost.
Yep.
We've been hanging out by then.
Caused it.
Because by that point, because I think we met early 2012. I want to say, did we? Was it 2012 or 13? Yeah, it's right around that time. Because we were playing. Because we were playing music, and then like you came out to our shows, and then all of a sudden we were friends. It was crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. All a little post on Facebook, people. That's how you do it.
How you do.
Yeah. Well, we also lived in the same city, so that helped as well.
That's true.
Like, hey, do you want to hang out? Yeah, sure. So as we mentioned, I went through a lot of things there that was going on with the America's Most Wanted show version. So let's talk about the hospital aspect here in the first part of the hospital, or as far as the story. That's storyline A. Okay, you got Stan who's really grossed out by hospitals. I don't blame him. Not really big on hospitals itself. It's kind of disgusting. What do you think?
Yeah. You should
nauseated.
never walk around a hospital barefoot. There's no telling what could happen.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, right?
Good tip. Good tip.
Yeah.
You want another good tip I was just told the other day? Spray down your mail when you get it. Think about that. Coronavirus.
On your
Take
mail.
it home. It could be transferred. You don't know.
I guess.
What if somebody who had the coronavirus in another state is fucking packing something and sends it to you and they don't know they had it and now you got it? Because it's in the box and you fucking Simpsoned. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then?
What are you going to do?
You're going to be infected and you're going to be saying, fuck, Matt was right. I should have sprayed down my mail. And I'll be like, I told you, man. I told you. I sprayed down my mail. Came home with my mail. You know what I did? Pulled out the Giddy Up 409. Then you know what I did? I took some clothes hangers, across the top of my fucking shower curtain. I hung up my mail. Hung it up to dry. That's a true story.
Yeah, but it's 3 hours in the air, 4 hours on cardboard, 24 hours on plastic and stainless steel.
You know what? You
up
have
to
to
72
get statistical with me. Okay, we didn't have to fucking go there. You just fucking ruined my joke. All right. Damn it. Anyway, they're the only ones that are working in the hospital. So that being the paraplegic and the doctor. And they're talking to Chef and they're like, do you have any medical experience? And he's like, I watched Quincy or something like that. And he's like,
good enough.
God damn it, man. Why didn't you tell me? Scrub up. So apparently if you watch a doctor's show, you are qualified in this situation in case of an emergency to be a doctor. Now I can tell you I watched a lot of Nip Tuck because that was good. I watched a lot of Scrubs because that was funny. But other than that, not really into the doctor stuff. Not really into the nasty, icky, and bloody, and he's got 5 minutes to live with blood and guts like pouring out, and then fucking the chick from Grey's Anatomy is like crying, what can I do? And then you got this other show that's on ABC called The Good Doctor. Okay, I get it. The kid has autism, and that's the role the actor actually has autism. Okay, and the role of the character he's playing is a doctor who's like a genius, but has autism. I get all that. But the writing is so tremendously bad that it's over the top. Like it's just dumb. You don't like me? Thank you. Like it's just so bad. So I don't like those shows. Ian. I'm just saying. So they start operating on. They're working on people. What were we gonna say?
With those shows, if you find somebody that's really in the medical profession, 9 times out of 10 they'll be triggered by the show. They'll be like, "Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's not how it." No, especially when they do CPR. Real live people in the medic profession I have found hate the way that they do CPR on TV. It's like, that's not how you do it.
Well, I mean, it depends. I haven't seen it, like, I haven't really analyzed it that way. I mean, I am a certified CPR person, professional. I have a card and everything. Took courses. Had to take it last year as part of my school. So that's pretty cool. Like, I can give CPR. So, like, I can fucking save a life, Ian. I'm ready to step up to the plate and save your life. Look at my finger. You're not looking at my finger. Look at my finger. Do you see it? Are you looking? Look at me. Hey, we're on video. Look at me. Eyes up. Right in the camera. Let me see it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so where are we in this episode?
Oh, this is hilarious. Okay. So while the rest of the adults are in town, as we mentioned, visiting the television crew film, the reenactment for America's Most Wanted, a tree falls on the power line, causing the power to go out, and all the adults are now stuck in a building until the storm settles. And the group apparently has to resort to cannibalism, Ian, to survive. Like, and they don't even wait a couple hours. Like, it's just like 1 or 2 hours. We got to do it. We got it. Yep, I'm getting hungry. We gotta eat each other. Like,
Our only option might be to eat each other to stay alive. It's only been like 4 hours. Aren't you resorting to cannibalism a little quickly? That's the law of the land, Mr. Director. I know it ain't pretty, but if a few of us must die so the rest can stay alive, so be it.
But how do we decide who?
Well, we draw straws. Now, wait a minute. We all had a big breakfast. Can't you people go without eating for a little while? Calm down, soldier. We need every person here to keep his head. Bye, Brady. Fetch some straws.
It's been a couple hours. I need to eat.
it's been a couple hours. I need to eat. So, and as a hospital, as it happens, the power goes out there. So Team B, being Kenny, who doesn't get to have hot cocoa, he's all like going through the sewers so that way he doesn't have to brave the cold. And then like the doctor calls him on the walkie-talkie and he's like, "Hey, we just want to let you know that we actually did find a very dry, warm, secure way to walk there." And Kenny's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I'm in the sewer."
Yeah, that shit was funny.
So Kenny gets to the circuit box and he finds out that the wires are broken. Now, I have a theory. And we were going to talk about this in something that we liked because you wanted to talk about Kenny sacrificing himself. But we'll talk about it now. I have a theory. Do you think because he's the town doctor, but he's sworn to doctor-patient confidentiality, that he knows Kenny is not a human?
I think so.
Because
I think so. Because there's instances where it's like certain people know, like Chef, I think knows, the doctor. At some point, I think his parents, or
well,
I think
his parents obviously know. They obviously know. Because as we find out later in the Coons episodes, when she gives birth, it's happening again. 57th or 56th or whatever number it was at the time. So I think that the doctor knows that there's something's up. So by sending Kenny out there, he knows that Kenny's not, gonna be in trouble. He'll just come back again. Even so much at the beginning of these episodes, we didn't mention, like, because it's like, who is Eric Cartman's father? And now it continues. And when they come back, like Kenny just appears and stands like, "Hey, what's up, Kenny?" So like he's just placed.
Hey. Right.
So so people have to, I mean, Stan and Kyle and them don't really understand it and they don't believe it. Can you believe it, Kenny? Mint-Berry Crunch had superpowers this whole time. So like nobody ever believes, "Oh, fuck you, I'm going to bed." Nobody ever believes about Kenny's power, I would say, to be quite honest. I think the only person
even when he shows it to them, they still don't believe him.
They don't believe it. They go, "Oh my God, he killed Kenny, you bastard."
And then when he comes back, they don't remember.
I mean, speaking of that, Kenny actually gets to say it. It's the only time in this whole episode. We'll talk about it right here. This is another thing we liked about. Kenny also gets to say, oh my God, they killed Mephisto. And then Kyle's like, you bastard. And you just see Stan look at Kenny like, what? Like, you took
What?
taking my shit, dog? You coming in on my catchphrases? Right? But it was a nice little moment for Kenny. Is he normally, doesn't get to say that a lot. It's rarely. If this might have been the only time he said it.
Yep.
As we continue down this linear fashion of South Park episodes, well, we'll be able to tell you. So Kenny he gets killed because he sacrifices himself in the generator, and the power is able to stay on, and they're able to stabilize Mephisto. But before we got there, back in the television station, we see them deciding that they are hungry, they're going to eat, and they have decided a way to do so by, what is it, plain straws? I don't know if you ever played this game when you were a kid. Whoever gets the shortest straw has to do this. I never did this.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it. I never want it. I'm like, that's dumb. I'm not doing it.
I've never participated in short straws.
Like, if someone goes, all right, we're going to draw straws from, I just go, I'm not going to touch your straws. And then I just would sit back down and be like, okay, so Matt's not going to do it. That's fine. And you just got to freak him out. You just got to freak him out of the, I'm not touching your straw. Like, you got to do it but you got to do it like really like affirmative and confident and straight face and look him dead in the eye and be like, I'm not touching your straws. And I'll be like,
okay, you weirdo.
Like, you're
Scared
a
of straws? All right.
Fine. Exactly. Guess what? Reverse psychology. I don't have to play the game. So that is how you get out of it.
It's like, okay, so in end of the world situation, it's like everybody it's like, okay, so we know the first person we're gonna kill.
I guess in that situation, but or you
first one to get eaten by the zombie.
Or you could think about also this guy is smart. Like, he just got out of having to play the straw game. Like, I'm not dying. But somebody has to die here, apparently. And they can't come to a decision because Officer Barb Brady doesn't cut a short straw. And everybody gets the same length. And they just decide, fuck it, we're going to kill Eric Roberts, who I don't even know whoever. They were like, oh, that's TV star Eric Roberts. I mean, I don't know. Eric. Was he in like 21 Jump Street or something back then or something like 1980s? It seems like he'd be in some sort of like Blue Chips cops type show, or you know what I mean? Like, that's how he kind of comes off as a sidekick. Who is Eric
Roberts? Back then, he was in The Specialist. He was in Runaway Train.
Keep going. What else? Give me something.
Best of the Best.
Oh,
The Dark Knight.
Oh, interesting.
Eliza Roberts.
Oh, I don't know.
His wife.
So nothing notable. But they said he was a TV star. What show was he on? What was the show?
TV show.
Like, I mean, that's what they're like. He's TV stars, Eric Roberts. No, don't eat me now. And they start eating him, and like, his body. You see his body with his shirt on still and shit. Like, he's all getting fried. And they basically ate him. But apparently he gets saved. We'll get to that. You don't see anything about TV shows Eric Roberts? Hey, Siri, who is television show Eric Roberts?
Here are 5 Eric Roberts TV shows. Bullet in the Face, The Odyssey, Pandemic, Stankanekra, and In Cold Blood.
Oh, well, I have not watched any of that shit.
Nope.
Okay, so he's nobody, and that's why they killed him. That's why they killed him in the episode. They're like, no one's going to miss him. So they kill him, and like within like eating, like finishing eating, well, we're content for now, but we might have to, we'll check where we are within an hour. And the director's like, Jesus Christ, are you guys diabetic or something? And well, eventually they're going to get eaten too. Basically, the mayor, Jimbo, Ned, Mr. Garrison, and some other offhanded characters eat the directors and the camera people too. I think they basically ate everybody that was affiliated with America's Most Wanted. And then eventually, like, they'll like dig themselves out with the shovel, like through the snow, like the next morning when the blizzard's over, and they're all like standing like out in the middle of the snow, like, and you just hear like this music that's like, ah, like, cause like I feel like they've, overcome something. You know what I'm saying? Like they just like, we have to, cause Ned's like, we have to live day by day, man, day by day. But that was also a parody based on another true story. So it's kind of funny them coming off of Not Without My Anus, based on a true story. We didn't talk about that in the last episode, based on a true story. But this is actually based on a true story. There really was people who I believe they were like stuck up in the mountains or something like that, and they had to like eat somebody. And eventually they got saved. And they were like, how do we go on living with the rest of our life? Someone was like, oh, we have to like press forward and try to live our best on a day-to-day basis. So I think that was net, day by day, Mayor. So as we move on now, we're back at the hospital and they're like, yeah, we've restored Mephisto because he comes to, and as he comes himself, comes back to, strength. We talk about that they revealed at this point in the episode, Mephisto was shot by his brother. He mentions every week his brother.
Where am I?
You're at the hospital, Mr. Mephisto. You were shot. Now, we don't know who tried to shoot you, but...
Oh, I'm sure it was my brother again. He tries to shoot me every month.
Tries to kill him. So, in essence, they basically kind of quash our theory that we thought it was Leanne Cartman. However, they never really follow up and investigate because the whole time, Story C, which we really didn't get into here, and as Ian is now putting his headphones back on and taking a bite out of his turkey sandwich, maybe, playing with his hair, checking his phone updates, putting his headphones back on, chewing a little bit more, Ian will be able to jump right in with us. But we talk about Story C here with Leanne Cartman. Leanne decides that, she wants to have an abortion. So she goes to an abortion clinic and she's like, I'd like to have an abortion. And the lady's like, oh, honey, all right. This must be a hard time for you. How far along are you? And Leanne's like, or he's 8 years old. I had him 8 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't have abortions in your 40th trimester. You can only have abortions after before your second or third, probably, I think is what it is now in modern day. And I don't know. We'll talk about the underlying topics here in a moment, but she basically decides she doesn't understand the concept between abortion and adoption. What she should have done if she was trying to get rid of Cartman was go to an adoption agency and give him up. But she kept trying to get abortions enacted for over 40 trimesters. She sleeps with the congressman. She sleeps with the governor.
Well, okay, Mrs. Cartman, I'll legalize 40th trimester abortions for you.
Oh, thank you.
We'll have the pregnancy terminated immediately.
Terminated?
Well, yes, that's what an abortion is.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I meant the other thing you can do. What's that other A word?
Adoption?
Yes, that's what I mean. Adoption.
Well, that's pretty different.
Oh, I should just tell my son the truth about everything myself. Good day, Mr. President.
Did she actually end up getting this passed?
Well, Bill Clinton was real. I'll tell you what, Leanne sucks a mean dick. I was willing to pass that law, but then she realized that she wanted adoption. So she got the fuck out of my office, I've been trying to work on that one for a while. It's coming along. It's coming along. So we get some great advice though from the as far as from Bill Clinton, who tells her that that's you don't understand the difference between the two after she's had sex with him a bunch of times. And so she decides to go home and I'm just going to tell Eric the truth. So this is where kind of all the stories come together. because you've got everybody from the TV station, who is Eric Cartman's father, that being Jimbo, Mr. Garrison. They all kind of come out of the radio station into the hospital. And then you've got the 1989 or 1991 Denver Broncos, as they like to say, come in. And you've got everybody in there now. You got Leanne now all in the doctor's office as Mephisto comes awake, comes to. He's all, kind of trying to stall giving the results. Who is Eric Cartman's father? And he's like, did y'all see that great episode of Not Without My Anus last week? Yeah, that was really great.
They brought it up too.
Cartman's like, so he's like, the father of Eric Cartman is Leanne, his mother. They're like, what? And it's explained that, this is how they explain it, that Leanne is a hermaphrodite, born with both male and female genitalia, which is a real thing. It can happen. And she, I guess, in her existence, decided to keep her both parts. Usually, if you're born with both parts, the parents over, as far as the history of population, would decide, right? They'd be like, okay, you're going to have boy parts or you're going to have girl parts. Or what I would think what would happen now is maybe they get to an age and they make that decision themselves. If you're born with both parts, I think you're allowed to choose your sex. Wouldn't you say?
You're allowed.
Like 100%.
You are allowed to be gender fluid.
We're allowed 1% to be gender fluid.
100%.
100%. We're not saying nobody else is. Nobody else can be. We're not taking a political stance here on Check My Vows. Ian might do that on our fucking Twitter, by the way. Not me.
Fuck. Called
Ian,
out.
How much on our fucking Twitter, but not me. But
no filter, baby.
If you want to talk to Ian, that's what I'm saying. Hit him up on our Twitter. But I will not be. I'm not going to say this. But in that case, definitely, you probably get to choose. But so Leanne's got both parts, so it's not possible, I guess, for her to have a baby because she doesn't have an ovary, but she has sperm. And apparently she was able to impregnate someone else. And now we need to find out who Eric Cartman's mother is. And by this point, Cartman's pissed and he just says, screw it. And that's how the episode ends. So let's talk about, a couple different things here, right? Let's talk about the public reception before we kind of get into our real thoughts as we're wrapping up the last 10, 15 minutes of this episode. So this episode, as we mentioned, aired after the premiere of Terrence and Phillip in Not Without My Anus. Now, interestingly enough, over 2,000 viewers wrote complaints to Comedy Central within a week of its premiere date in 2013. That's crazy. That is crazy. 2,000 different complaints actually wrote out. You got to think this is the 90s. Not a lot of people have emails.
Now, have you ever been that upset where you've written an email about something?
No.
No.
Not to corporate or anything like that. I've just told them to their face. Like normally if it happens in front of me. It usually happen, via mail or something like I'm watching on TV or something like that. Like that television shows and just like that's not gonna affect me enough where I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write a petition to get the show back. They should have canceled it. Like whatever, the show's over. I'll watch something else. So I've never done that. Now I might get pissed if you're in the middle of writing something. If you wrote a book and halfway through the book you didn't give me the rest, hell yeah, I'd be pissed. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you just give me the whole book when it was finished?
Game of Thrones cough.
Yeah, I guess I never got into that. So, but no, I never did get into writing to people. But I've Gordon Ramsay'd somebody in a Denny's once, but I've never, gotten mad when I was gonna write stuff. Were you there for that? When Gordon Ramsay was somebody in the Denny's? I don't know if you're there. But some of the underlining tones and stories of this episode. However, fans did vote. Actually, I should note, fans did vote this as the Cartman's Mom is a Dirty Slut as the best episode of season 2. So it's a good way to start their actual South Park content with the boys. But the messages, we had cannibalism and abortion. So if you notice, the receptionist at the abortion clinic states that aborting a child after the second trimester of pregnancy is illegal. This is a federal law in the United States. So the issue of abortion in this episode was, I guess, more topical around the time of its airing, as in where years surrounding this episode's release. So the Republican Party now forth has, attempted to pass more bills preventing either partial birth abortions, which did not pass, or abortions in general for, they believe, religious reasons. I can confidently tell you that I do not believe I should make the decision of who should have an abortion. That's all I'm going to say. So,
Yep.
I think as citizens, we should not be making the decision on who and who cannot have an abortion. So, I don't get why that seems to be some sort of federal government law that really shouldn't have nothing to do with you. Now, if the baby is born, then obviously becomes a citizen aware of whatever country, nationality it's in. Get that. But until that actually happens, until it's actually a life form, if
People
it's
need
just
to already understand that that person's going through it enough. And it's a hard enough decision to make in themselves to have an abortion or not to have an abortion. It's people don't need to get so wrapped up in what other people are doing.
Women have the right to their choice, their bodies. I think maybe the only person that should maybe get a input or voice is if you're in a probably let's say loving, committed relationship, and you're trying to have a baby, and then the chick's like, I want to have an abortion. And maybe you're married and you're like, fuck that, dude, you don't have an abortion. I could see that argument because you're like, wait a minute, we're married, we're trying to make family. That's a different topic for that family to have, not for anybody else to have. That might be where a second opinion would come in. But other than that, nobody else should be really getting in the middle of people's businesses. Okay. Second underlying tone, we've got cannibalism. So the biggest portion is probably America's Most Wanted, and how the network is all about just making entertaining television. And the mayor only cares about her image, all behind a ruse of trying to find a killer. And I think this kind of shows how shallow and self-serving people can be, and how they kind of need to be more conscious of it all, because they try to justify it oh, we're doing this to save the people, or we're doing this to help you guys. But the same thing is actually, as far as in the cannibal portions of the episode, where they just justify eating everybody, their fellow human beings, after going less than a day without food. They literally went less than a couple hours and they just started eating each other. Now, I get it for this episode. They have to kind of make it that way because you only have 22 to 25 minutes of an episode. So I get it. But still, in the context of the show in one night, I know me and you have gone a lot longer without food, and that's just hanging out together. It's we'd be hanging out in the morning, and it's nighttime, and we're have we eaten? Dude, we gotta get the food. So you can go a long time without food if you really need to. So it was crazy, but they do cannibalize the crew of America's Most Wanted because they are trapped inside during the blizzard. Now, this is a common cliche, apparently, regarding the people being snowed in together. This is likely a reference that we noted that was one of two cases of cannibalization in American history, that being the Donner Party and the case of Alfred Packer. Trey Parker and Matt Stone's first film, Cannibal, the musical, told the story of Alfred Packer. And that also, of course, could have been, they were lampooning the 1993 film Alive, which is the movie I was talking about, where it's at the end scene, the music and shit. That's where it's taking it ripped off right from. So, any thoughts there before we move into our on cannibalization? Do you like cannibalizing people, Ian?
No, just even today, there's still people out there that just will justify anything for any type of reason. That's
Do you like? See, what you're saying is you don't like to eat the taco? The taco. I want to eat a taco.
I don't like the long pig.
Like to eat the taco. Taco. So here was some of our top moments of the show. As we mentioned, Mephisto gets shot. Kenny gets to deliver the line, "Oh my God, they killed Mephisto." This is the first time he gets to say this. We also talked about Eric Cartman singing "Come Sail Away, Come Sail Away, Come Sail Away with Me." There was the nurse with no arms. That was pretty funny. Her being a paraplegic. And there's a point in the hospital, "Damn it, nurse, I need a second pair of hands." And then she like looks at him like menacingly, like you asshole. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why, like, but like you gotta understand. I'm actually not even mad. Like I wasn't really mad because I was like, oh, at least he's treating you normal, right? Like he's not thinking about you. Doesn't have, treating you equal, right? Of course, the two teams, the Team A and Team B. So that was kind of messed up, but it sounds like we kind of both under the conclusion that the doctor knows there's something up with Kenny that he can be reborn. So that's why he should go out and fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get it. I think this is a good thing a good thing to end with, actually, because these are some good topics to talk about. We didn't even talk about any of this. You ready? First thing, the announcer in this episode over and over.
Like, I think Trey and Matt learned through growing that, the more repetitive they got, the more annoying it was. So they slow it down a little bit further on. I kind of noticed now that I think about it. But geez, these first few are just, oh my gosh, like it's over and over and over and over and fucking over and over and over.
Yeah, the announcer, and what we're talking about is pretty much in every scene throughout this episode, the announcer like does a whodunit situation from who is Eric Cartman's father? Who built the pyramids? That one kind of actually did pop me toward the end when he said, who built the pyramids? Was it the Jews? The Samaritans? Jimbo? I was like, Jimbo?
Ned.
So that was kind of annoying. It would have been fine to do it like once, twice, and like if you had thrown in the Egypt thing, like that was funny. Like I was like, okay, that's actually a good question. Who did build the pyramids? Like, all right, I like that. But you didn't need to do every scene for every portion of the episode and whatever they were doing. Another thing, actually, I forgot to bring up in here. Did you notice that Mr. Garrison didn't get cast for his own role?
I've seen enough genetic engineers. Let's move on to the auditions for the part of Mr. Garrison.
Call the Mr. Garrison auditions.
Boy, I sure hope I'm not Eric Cartman's father, Mr. Hat. You can say that again, Mr. Garrison. All right, not bad. Let's keep him on the top pile. Next.
I sure hope that I'm not Eric Cartman's father, Mr. Hat. You can say that again, Mr. Garrison.
Thank you. Next.
What?
In the America's Most Wanted video, I sure hope we don't get snowed in or whatever. I sure hope we don't get shot, Mr. Hat. Me neither, Mr. Garrison. Like, and Mr. Garrison
next.
He doesn't even get cast. Like, if I was him, I was thinking about this. I was like, well, I would have just been like, then you can't use Mr. Garrison. Like, can't use me. Can't use Mr. Hat. Can't use our likeness. Fuck you. Can't do that. I don't know. That's just me. Let's talk about the second thing you did dislike. Go ahead. What was the big thing?
Why does she have to be a fucking hermaphrodite? I don't get that.
Again, please know if you listen to the podcast, we don't care if you're a hermaphrodite. What we're talking about.
It's just like, but like in this situation, there was so many different routes that they could have gone with Cartman and the identity of the parents, because later on we find out that it was Scott Tenorman's dad who was really Cartman's dad.
Spoiler.
And then and the fact that she's a hermaphrodite is never brought up again, which is like, okay, either she's a hermaphrodite and she's a hermaphrodite throughout the rest of the show, and we can keep referencing that. Jesus, I butchered it still. Or you don't do that at all. And like if they would have kept to the continuity of her being hermaphrodite, then it wouldn't have been an issue. But the fact that it's never brought up again, and that we find out, oh, it is actually, he does have a real dad. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a bit confusing why they decided to make her a hermaphrodite. I mean, I get that's kind of funny, like, haha, we screwed you again, South Park. Now you don't know who her mother is. Now you got to find out who the mother is. And by this point, you've already waited a full 4 weeks. Then you got April Fool's pranked. Then you waited 4 more fucking weeks. And you find out after 2 months that Eric Cartman's mom is a hermaphrodite. And they never bring it up again. You're right. That does kind of make you mad when you put it all together like that, Ian.
See? It's not that it's not the hermaphrodite itself. It's the context of the story of making her hermaphrodite. And then
Right.
just-
Why didn't they just like as we've talked about, why didn't they just I don't know, pick the whole Denver Broncos and be like, it's gonna be a buttload of money to DNA test every Bronco because they're not here, so we're gonna not find out ever. Or Cartman's like, ah, fuck it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, or maybe the whole Denver Broncos does become his dad. I don't know. I didn't really understand because if you're just gonna make it a throwaway, then they could have easily made any of this a throwaway, right? But they went ahead and they were like, okay, she's a hermaphrodite. So does that mean he could do Cartman father-son days, father-daughter days? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
It's a little confusing, guys. That's all we're saying. Let us know. Hit us up if we're not seeing it, or maybe explain it to us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's for this full episode of Scoop. Does this make your top 20? Scoop top 20.
It would make the top 100.
Okay, all right, that's fair. But it's not gonna make top 20. Non-Scoop's top 20. Sorry.
I wouldn't give it a, but
I mean, in comparison to the big, actually, I'm going to. I'm going to. You know why? Because here's why. You're watching this episode, or you're watching the fucking season finale. Okay. You're waiting. You get Not Without My Anus. You get all the way to the end of it, only for not to find out who the fuck is Eric's family. That's pissed me off. That pissed me off.
So is my
Pissed me off. Yeah,
my
pissed me off.
in there? Thumbs fucking down, not top anything for you.
I would say top 100, but I'm still thumbs down.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Top 200. That's kind of like a middle.
Yeah, that's kind of a fuck you to that. So that we might not even make a top 100. I think we'd have to go with top 50, maybe top 25.
Maybe. Yeah, it wouldn't even break that. No way.
Right. No way.
But that's it, guys. That's for another episode of Suck My Balls. That's episode number 16. And we did it. We dropped a double dose this week because, of course, as we mentioned, we were not going to let the anus, not without my anus, be the story there. Be our last episode of weeks. But we will be back next week for an episode of Suck My Balls, season 2, episode number 3. Scoop, do you like this next episode, Ike's Wee Wee?
Oh man. Not without spoiling anything, but yes, I do like this one. This one's actually pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so in the next episode, Ike's Wee Wee is the 3rd episode of the 2nd season of the American animated television show South Park. In it, they want to circumcise Ike. But you'll get to hear that episode next week right here on Suck My Balls, a South Park review. Of course, I'm your host, the most lives on the West Coast, your boy, Matthew Schaffer. Follow me on Twitter and the gram at Matthew_Schaffer. Hit us up on Twitter and the gram at Suck My Balls Pod. Find us on Facebook at South Park Pod. Email us at suckmyballspod@gmail.com. And yeah, thanks to our sponsors, Rad Salad Review, hackerhummy.podbean.com. Skip. Check my house.
Check my bow.